And I'm going to take a little portion of this to understand the body wall in more detail. What we are looking over here is the body wall. This is an extension of the tentacle, and in this you can see the three layers very clearly. This in the center is the extension of the gastrovascular cavity, and on both the sides you see the three layers. On the outer side, this outermost layer is known as the epidermis. The inner layer is called as the gastrodermis. And the middle layer over here, which I told you is a jelly-like matrix, acellular in case of the Cnidaria. This in-between layer is called as the mesoglia. These are the three layers. The epidermis will be mainly protective in nature, and it will have several different types of cells. Some of the cells we will pick out and study about them. One of the most important cells that are there in the epidermis are these peculiar looking cells which are called as the cnidoblasts or the cnidocytes. These are the cnidocytes, protective in nature, and it has these cnidocytes. The phylum has received their name because of these peculiar cells that are there. What is it about these cells? How do they work? Let's find out. Let's look at one cnidocyte. Okay, so this is the cnidocyte. It has like half of a capsule embedded in it, closed by a cover. Inside it is packed a mechanism. It has like an arrowhead which is kept inverted, like a sock that is kept inverted in this manner, which is coiled by a coiled tube, and there is a tactile thread over here. This capsule over here is known as the nematocyst. Nematocyst. Do not confuse with nematoblast. This is called nematocyst, also called as the stinging capsule, also called as the stinging organelle. And there is a hair on top of the cell which is called as the cnidocyl. It is a trigger hair. Now what happens is, whenever there is prey around, let's say there is prey around this hydra, and the moment this cnidocyl comes in contact with that prey, this hair is tactile in nature. It will detect the stimulus of touch. Because of that, there will be an increase in the osmotic pressure inside this capsule, and because of the increase in the osmotic pressure, this arrowhead that was inverted inside will be pushed out, will be propelled outside, and it will pierce to the tissue of the prey, and it is going to look like this once it is released. Okay, this arrowhead is going to be shot out because of the increase in the osmotic pressure. The coil thread is released out, and you see these barbs on this. It will pierce to the tissues of the prey, and this coil thread is going to wrap around. It's adhesive in nature. It will wrap around the prey as well, and that's how the prey is going to be captured. These are the barbs. This is the adhesive thread which will coil around prey. The stinger over here, it will have a poison. Once these barbs pierce to the tissue, they will also release a toxin inside the prey and can kill. Okay, that's why you should not come in contact with the jellyfish. The jellyfishes can sting and it can be deadly. So this is a cnidocyte that is in its innate form, and in this the arrow has been dispersed. So this is how the cnidocytes work and capture the prey. Coil thread shoots out. Coil thread shoots out. Toxin released, barbs pierce, preys, tissues, and the prey is captured. Other cells that may be present in the epidermis may be epithelial muscle cells. Epidermis may also have nerve cells. Nerve cells present in epidermis. Why are nerve cells present? Because they are evolving, no? They are animals. Animals have different types of tissues. Remember, primitive nerve cells have started developing in them. Primitive muscle cells have started developing in them. The nerve cells that have developed in them are of very primitive nature, and they are non-polar type of nerve cells. Non-polar means, you know the nerve cells that we have, right? The nerve cells that we have are said to be polar nerve cells. Okay, they have different poles. There are unipolar, bipolar, multipolar nerve cells in chordates, and in these there are primitive nerve cells that have started forming. They are called non-polar nerve cells. Non-polar neurons present. Neurons means nerve cells, and they form a nerve net. These non-polar neurons, which will look like this, they will form a network along with the other neuron cells, and they will form a nerve network all around its body. they will be sensory in nature. So that was about the nervous system. So primitive nervous system has started developing in the Cnidarians. Next, mesoglia. It is acellular and it may only have elastin fibers. There is one higher class called anthozoa in which some cells may be present. Next is gastrodermis, the inner layer. The epidermis is formed from the ectoderm. The gastrodermis will be formed from the endoderm and it will line the gastrovascular cavity. The gastrodermis will have what kind of cells? There will be cells which will be muscular in nature. There will be cells which will be glandular in nature. Gastrodermis has glandular cells which will release enzymes. Enzymes for what? For digestion of food. They will bring about extracellular digestion. Extracellular digestion takes place of the ingested food. The ingested food will obviously come from the water that is taken inside the gastrovascular cavity. The digestion of food takes place only partially in the gastrovascular cavity. Partially digested food, the food that is partially digested food is then phagocytosed by cells of gastrodermis, and they will bring about intracellular digestion as well. What does it mean? What does it mean? In porifera, what have you learned in porifera? Water that came in through the ostia came inside the spongocoel, and the choanocytes phagocytosed the trapped food particles and they brought about intracellular digestion. Isn't it? The digestion was intracellular in case of porifera. What about here? Since the gastrodermis is lined by glandular cells, they will release the enzymes outside and there will be a partial digestion of food in the gastrovascular cavity. An extracellular digestion will take place. And then what will happen? The partially digested food is then going to be phagocytosed by some of these cells of the gastrodermis and they will bring about intracellular digestion as well. So what can you say about digestion? Therefore digestion, very important point, therefore digestion in Cnidaria is extracellular plus intracellular. Very important point. Excretion. The metabolic waste product that will be produced in them will be ammonia and they are going to release this ammonia into the gastrovascular cavity, which will be released to the mouth/anus, and they will be called as ammonotelic organisms because of that excretion. Ammonia is the metabolic waste and they are said to be ammonotelic. Cnidarians are ammonotelic organisms. Respiration, then circulation will all be through the process of diffusion inside the gastrovascular cavity. The water that comes in will bring in dissolved oxygen, which will be uptaken by the cells, and the carbon dioxide will be released. So that's why you understand why the cylindron is also called as gastrovascular cavity. Why is it called gastrovascular cavity? Because it acts like a stomach also. It's like its blood vessel also for gaseous exchange, isn't it? And for elimination of waste, etc. Gastrovascular cavity.
महादेव के नाम पे सब्सक्राइब कर दें।